Welcome back to another episode of the Even Your Dynasty show. Today's episode, we are going to talk about the Giants offense because it has a ton of issues at the moment and kind of what they could, should, however you want to look at it, do going forward and kind of examining where the issues are, etc. I had plans to do a Jordan Hicks video, talk about all the great things he has been doing for the team. He's been probably their best player through 14 games. You know, you're talking about a team that's won 5 games and he's got 3 of the wins. But after watching the Giants score 1 run again and be dreadful with runners in scoring position again and continue to look completely lost, inept, atrocious, putrid, whatever adjective you'd like to describe this offense currently. Um, we shifted gears and we're going to talk about that. I am going to do the Jordan Hicks video, but it'll probably be in the next couple days instead. But looking at the Giants offense, you know, this is an offense that started off hot the first couple games, or at least had a couple really nice games. They were pretty consistently giving them about 4 or 5, plus runs, and they've hit a wall. And this is a flawed offense. This is an offense that, quite frankly, lacks the length in the lineup that it needs. And there's a ton of issues. But to start, what's kind of inspired this video is the last 7 games, looking at them, where the 3 games at home against San Diego, 3 games at home against Washington, and then today's game. They have scored 2 runs, 0 runs, 2 runs, 1 run, 3 runs. They scored 7 against Patrick Corbin, which, I mean, I don't really know if I should congratulate anybody that beats up on Patrick Corbin. He seems to be the easiest way to get out of a funk offensively. It's just to face Patrick Corbin. He's been that bad the last couple seasons. And then they scored 1 run against Tampa Bay. So this is a team that is completely inconsistent offensively. And now we're going to break down kind of where they currently rank. Now it's 14 games, and I know I'm going to get a ton of people popping in here saying, oh, it's only 14 games. And you know what? Last season and the year before that, and it seems like every season we play it's only been 14 games. It's only been 25 games. It's only been 2 months. Next thing you know, we're sitting here going, it's only August. This team is doing what they always do. This is the problem. So let's go down the list right now on the season. They're 16th in batting average. They're 22nd in on base, slugging, and OPS. They're 22nd across the board on those. They're 26th in home runs. They actually haven't hit a home run since, I think, since the Dodger series at this point. 26 in home runs. They are 16th in doubles. So that's actually one spot where they've seen some benefit with some of the more power, some of the power producers they brought in. They're getting a few more extra base hits in that route. But they're 26 in stolen bases. Now, kudos to them. They stole 3 more bags today. It hasn't updated that list. This is, kind of entering today. So if I bumped them to 6, they would be at 16th. But of course, that doesn't factor in any stolen bases other teams had. So they're probably still in the 20 range. But they did get 3 more today. 15th in walks, 19th in strikeouts, which is that's right where they finished last season, but still too many. And they are 20th in runs scored. They're averaging 4.08 runs per game. But here's the issue. Like, you pull up their lineup right now, and this is where we have the problem. Right now, the Giants have 5 players under the Mendoza line, with Tom Murphy leading the group at an 077 batting average. Slater's at 100. Yastrzemski's at 125. Estrada's at 185. Chapman's at 193. Now, Estrada had a 2 for 4 today. Hopefully he's heating up. They could really use it. They also have an additional 2 players that are under 250, with Flores at 233, Soler at 204. Then you move on to OPS. They have 6 players with a sub 600 OPS. Murphy's at a 354. You have Yaz at 375. Slater at 408. Estrada at 474. Chapman at 579, Flores at 581. And then you have two more guys that are sub 700 with Ahmed at 660, Jung-Hoo Lee at 632. So you have 13 position players on the team. 5 of them are under the Mendoza line. 7 of them are under 233 or lower on batting average. And of those 13, you have 6 with a sub 600 OPS and 8 that are under 700. They have exactly 3 players with a over 800 OPS. And that's Lamont Wade Jr. at 868, Michael Conforto at 912, and Tyler Fitzgerald in very small sample size with a 1238 OPS. Now, where can the Giants improve this team? I think the first answer to that would be to start playing Tyler Fitzgerald more. His legs alone are a weapon. He should have produced the tying run today. He comes in, he pinch runs for Wilmer Flores, steals second. He steals second. Bailey, who I've been hard on at times, obviously, does his job, gets him over to first. Nick Ahmed comes up small and fails to get him in. The Giants today went 0 for 10 with runners in scoring position. Against the Nationals in the first 2 games, they went 2 for 33 with runners in scoring position. Their only run they scored today, Jung-Hoo Lee came because of an error and a wild pitch. Jung-Hoo Lee steals second. The catcher throws it into center field. He gets third. Wild pitch. He scores. That's the only time they scored. Against the Padres, they score because a guy drops the ball when Soler slides, or because Kim loses the ball when Soler slides into second. I mean, this is a team that is getting that can't seem to score runs without getting help from the other team right now. So I would say, and this is where I do give Melvin credit, it's like he's finally had enough and he's decided we're going to run more, and they have 6 stolen bases in their last 2 games. And I think every Giants fan is probably saying hallelujah watching that. And that's an excellent start. But this team is flawed. And you especially look at the bottom of the order, and you have Yaz hitting a $125, Bailey's hitting 290, which is awesome. I don't expect that to keep up. I mean, I hope I'm wrong. I really do. But the reality is I think most of us are just hoping that he can hit like 220 with a 650 OPS and play excellent defense. Like, that's what we want from him. And Nick Ahmed's actually hitting pretty well right now, which is good. But there's also a long track record of him being just a terrible bat. So do I expect that to keep up? Absolutely not. So, and I'm not trying to be pessimistic here. I'm just being realistic of what the talent the Giants have on this offense and on this roster. So I've seen a lot of people that, I've made suggestions like I would live with the defense from Luciano, struggle with it. I'm fine if it gets the bat in the lineup. And, putting Matos in right field, or now I would suggest actually give Elliot Ramos a shot, an actual run. And I'll go into that a little more here in a moment. But, the pushback I always receive is, well, we need the gloves. We can't sacrifice the offense or we can't sacrifice the defense to get the offense, that, the potential offense, because, it's not a guarantee. And I understand that. But the reality is, in today's game, if you can't consistently score runs, you can't consistently win games. Like, it's just that simple. You're not going to win games scoring 1 or 2 runs. Like, the Giants pitching staff, I think, is going to be really good. We're not holding teams to a run a game. Like, that's not going to happen. They got to find a way to score runs. And right now, it's not just as simple as, oh, well, when the guys at the top that, you're paying to produce start producing. Like, we're not the Dodgers. We don't have Mookie Betts and Shohei Ohtani and, Freddie Freeman anchoring the lineup to where and plus another handful of good players, or really good players like Will Smith. Outman has struggled, but he's actually pretty good. And, a bunch of other guys. We're not the Dodgers, who could take a guy like Nick Ahmed and not give 2 craps if he hits a $190 because they just want the Gold Glove defense at short. We don't have that luxury. This team needs to find an offense that can be a sum of its parts offense. And the defense, albeit has been very excellent. They're actually tied for third in airs at 4, and their fielding percentage right now, 991, is third in majors. I'm not going through all the outs above average and all the advanced stuff. I just, as far as basic defense, they are not beating themselves, which is a huge step up over past seasons. So I'm going to give them credit there. But to me, what that tells me is you should be able to sacrifice a little bit on that end to find out a way to score runs. They need a spark. This team looks absolutely dead in the water at the moment. And, bring up one of these guys. Play Tyler Fitzgerald more. There's no reason they can't give Michael Conforto one day off a week and give give Lee a day off every, a week or two. Give Tyro Estrada a day off a week. Give Nick Ahmed a day off a week. There is such an easy avenue to getting Tyler Fitzgerald 3 starts a week. And then he should be like first guy off the bench to pinch run late in games. Get him in the lineup more than you do. There's no reason the Giants can't utilize him the way the Dodgers utilize Chris Taylor, where he still starts a bunch of games, even though he's, a utility guy. He's not the everyday guy at any one position. You're going to find a way to get him in the lineup a lot, especially against lefties, because his speed can be a weapon. He can produce runs. So, and yes, I think he's going to have some swing and miss. He'll strike out some. He does have some nice pop, but the speed is what matters. Like that, I can't emphasize that enough. That is important. Now, where else can they get help? Well, at some point, they need to make a difficult decision. And I mean, some of these guys are making it less difficult, but they need to make a difficult decision at some of these spots where I understand the track record of a guy like Austin Slater, for instance. I get it. He's hit lefties well. But frankly, this is a what have you done for me lately league. And last season, he took a step back. He was still good against lefties, but he took a very visible, clear step back. He has been awful in spring. Same with Mike Yastrzemski. He has been awful during the season. Same as Mike Yastrzemski. And I'm not going to sit here and say, oh, let's just sit and wait him out for 2 months. Like, how big of a hole are we going to dig by not moving some of these guys or just living with it and hoping that they all get hot at the same time, which is possible, sure. But this team needs a spark. And that's where I would be looking at possibly a guy like Elliot Ramos, who they you look at what he's doing, and it's funny because I've always heard the excuse with Ramos of he hasn't taken advantage of his opportunities when he's here. He hasn't uh, he doesn't do some of the things that the advanced analytics like he hits a lot of ground balls. He strikes out too much. All these different things. And yes, is it a smaller sample size this season? Sure. And actually last year he improved in a lot of those aspects, at least a little bit. And this season, in a small sample size, I'm not denying that he's taken another step, and he is actually he's probably been the hottest offensive player in their entire system so far. But we're going to talk about kind of some of the things he's done well, which is why I would be looking at it's time to move off Austin Slater and let's get a guy with serious upside in here. Let's let him play right field every day. Let's kick Yastrzemski back to a fourth outfielder role. I mean, I've been on here saying I would like to get Luis Matos, and I still would love to get Luis Matos up here. And this isn't me saying I think Ramos is necessarily going to be a better professional player than Luis Matos, but there is an secondary thought to this, which is Elliot Ramos is in his last year of minor league options. If you don't bring him up this season and get a real evaluation, and I don't want to hear a single person tell me that we've gotten an evaluation on him at the major league level. He has been called up 6 times. He has 82 plate appearances. That means he has averaged 13.7 plate appearances per call-up. That is not an evaluation. That is a joke. So, especially when you're getting inconsistent at bats, you're getting platooned, you're getting jerked around, like that's not an evaluation. Nobody is going to ever be able to convince me that that's an evaluation. He needs like 2 months of playing every day, and let's see what he has. So I'd be bringing him up, And because if you don't, he's out of options. That means you're going to go into next season where he is in the same situation that Bart was in this season. You're going to have no clue what you have in him, and you're going to have to make a decision of, well, do we keep this unknown player up and just hope that it works, or do we DFA him and watch him go somewhere else and risk looking stupid because he ends up being a really, really good player elsewhere? And he might not be a good player. He might come up, he might stink. We have no clue what he is. But what we're going to do is we're going to look at some of the stuff that he's done this year that suggests that, he could potentially be a pretty good player. So, for starters, K percentage in sacks so far, 24.1%, which is excellent. If you keep it under 25, especially as a guy with pop, I'll take it. He's walking a little less than he has in past years, but you don't really care because he's doing damage. He's at a 7.4% walk percentage. His average exit velocity right now is 93.2 miles per hour. Now, keep in mind that exit velocity does not factor in today's games or today's game that he played. He had 2 hits of 106.5 off the bat, including a ground rule double in in the eighth inning. He now has, in 54 plate appearances, he has 10 extra base hits. He's hit 4 homers, 2 triples, 2 doubles. And I get it. Some of it was like in Reno. It's in the PCL. It's hitter friendly. These aren't cheapies. He's hitting balls 108, 109 off the bat. As far as players in the system, he's as impressive as any when he barrels the ball. It's just a matter of, can he consistently barrel the ball? You want to look at how often he's putting it on the ground. He's cut his ground ball percentage. He used to be around 50%. Or the high 40s. This season he's cut it all the way down to 37.5. Last season he was down around 44 in AAA, and he had his best season in AAA. This season he's cut it back farther. He's having an even better season so far. So bring in a guy like him, even if you're not going to go super crazy. I mean, as much as I would love to see the Giants just flip a switch, throw, Matos, Luciano, Ramos, bring all the kids up and just dump a bunch of these veterans that I'm just quite frankly sick of. They're not going to do that. Like that's not going to happen. I'm not unrealistic in these expectations. I know that. But I'd be getting Fitzgerald in the lineup more, and I'd be bringing up Ramos. Give him a look. Give him a chance, because there's no way he's going to produce any less than Mike Yastrzemski and Austin Slater have given you this year. Like, there's no chance. They have given you as little production as you humanly could get. I guess they could be 0 for the season still. They were that for a while. So those are my thoughts. This has been frustrating as a Giants fan. I know a lot of you guys are frustrated, and I know there's a lot that are going to be like, it's too soon. We can't make the decisions this fast. And I get it. I respect it. It's a fair point. I know I'm not patient on this aspect, and that's fine. I can live with that. But as always, if you guys like the content, please like the video, subscribe to the channel. I appreciate all the support I'm getting from you guys. I want to hear your guys' comments. I love going back and forth with everyone. Everybody's always pretty great in the comment section and keep it pretty respectful, and it's fun. So that's half the reason I do this, is just interact with more Giants fans. It's a great time. So tell me what you guys think. If you guys do think we should bring someone up, if you do think somebody needs to just go at this point, or if you think we should just ride it out and hope they get going at some point. And, I'm sure some of these guys like Tyro and, Soler and Chapman, like, they're too good of players. They'll figure it out, but I still don't think it's enough. Even if those guys are hitting, I don't think it's enough when you're almost throwing away 3 spots in your lineup. So tell me what you guys think. Other than that, I'll come out with that Jordan Hicks video in the next few days, and we'll talk about him and what he's doing. And other than that, go Giants. Hopefully they can pull out a win tomorrow and the following day and get a series win, but we'll see with how the offense looks. But have a good one, everyone.